What's going on, guys? Gster here, and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of my Simagic mini pedal set that I've purchased from AliExpress a little under 2 years ago for my personal sim rig as my main daily driver set of pedals. Through that time, I've put hundreds of hours on them, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and answer the biggest question most of you may have. Are they worth it? This video will cover three main topics: the build quality, mods required to get the most out of the pedals, and compatibility, since I was able to get them to work with the PS5 using some extra adapters. In my opinion, this review will also cover the Simagic Pro pedals as well, because of the fact that they are not too different and have basically the same design. The previous pedals I've used to compare with are the G920 and the T300 RS 3 pedal set. As you can probably imagine, the Simagics are a gigantic step up in almost every aspect, and today I'm going to be going over the reason why that is and whether or not they're worth the upgrade if you've got a beginner set of pedals. Spoiler alert, they are. You've probably heard it before when you're researching for that next piece of sim racing equipment to upgrade on your setup. Most enthusiasts will recommend the pedals. I think this is for a couple of reasons. Firstly, is the fact that force feedback wheels, even the entry ones like the Logitech G29 or the Thrustmaster T300 RS, are so much better than what we've had in the past, but entry pedals are basically the exact same. Secondly, having a higher quality set of pedals can allow for much greater accuracy with your inputs of the gas and brake pedals, allowing for much cleaner braking zones and trail braking, also much smoother acceleration out of the turns. Personally, once I switched to these pedals, the way I drove became so much smoother instantly, and I only got faster when I became more used to them with time and practice. First thing I'd like to go over is the build quality of these pedals. They are really next to none when it comes to budget load cells. All three of the pedals have their own load cell on them. Anything else in this price range you'd be looking at would not be 100% metal construction. All the pedals, the clutch, brake, and gas feel very sturdy and smooth once you've applied some white lithium grease to the moving parts of the pedals, aka the pivot points, which is recommended with most metal construction pedals anyways. There have been some reports of people having sets with some side-to-side play due to the suspected brass bushings on the pivot points, but I can't speak on it since my set has been very rock solid. I did notice it's slightly out of the box to a much lesser extent than what I've seen online, but all they've required from me is to tighten all the bolts on the pedals, and since then there's been no play at all. Overall, I'm very pleased with the build quality, and it's definitely a major reason why I chose this set. There's no mistaking it that they kind of are a Heusinkveld knockoff pedal set, but I feel like that's only beneficial to the end consumer. We want, price to performance. We don't want to be breaking the bank, as where just a couple of years ago it was so expensive to get into these higher end set of pedals and wheelbases, as where now companies like Moza and now Simagic and whatnot, they've come in and really solidified a spot and made it clear that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get some nice, great performing pedals. So the second topic I'm going to be going over are the mods. While this pedal set is built rock solid, the way they're set up out of the box is far from ideal, unfortunately, and some extra costs should honestly be factored in when considering purchasing these pedals. I did notice that the latest revisions of these pedals did have upgraded bushings on the pivot points and also a shorter brake spring as well, but nonetheless, since I was one of the early adopters of these pedals, I had to do these mods myself. And the first mod that I've went ahead and fitted is a shorter and softer brake spring behind the elastometers for a smoother transition into hard braking. This mod is essential in my opinion and is very inexpensive at around $10. The second mod I installed was the Heusinkveld Elastometer kit, which is fully compatible with these pedals, thankfully. I went with the softest set as I feel that it's the closest you'll get to a regular road car in terms of brake feeling. One mod I'm really interested in is the hydraulic brake mod, but I feel as though the setup I currently have on the brake pedal is the best you can do for that price. The third and final mod I've gone ahead and fitted is a much thinner wire diameter spring for the accelerator pedal. Another very cheap mod coming in at around $10 as well. In my opinion, it has made a big difference in being able to modulate the throttle through the turns for smoother exits and maintaining half throttle and around there without too much force, just like, a real car. What I'm comparing the heaviness of the accelerator pedal to is basically the later E generation BMWs. I feel like they have a very solid feeling throttle, so I wanted to emulate that with these pedals. When the throttle spring is too heavy, the accelerator tends to feel more like an on and off switch and provides less control in general. The last thing I've done with these pedals, which I wouldn't really consider a mod, is switching around the front and back mounting points that come with the pedals for mounting them to your base plate and whatnot. What this allows for is a nice tilt on the pedal so your feet naturally rest on them much more comfortably, like a real car, rather than having an almost 90-degree angle when you put zero input or when zero input is being applied. I hope I've covered everything when it comes to the mods. If you guys have any more questions in regards to that, feel free to leave them in the comments. And now I'm going to be moving on to the last subject, which is the compatibility of these pedals with different hardware, such as using them on console. Officially, these pedals are only supported for the PC, but I found some really awesome workarounds to get them working with basically any console, including the latest generation, which is the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. This workaround will require some extra adapters. The first piece of hardware is called the DriveHub, and it is an adapter used to connect non-compatible or unlicensed sim racing hardware to the consoles. The second piece of hardware is called a GIMX adapter, GIMX. This one is harder to find online for purchasing, but personally the place I found mine was Etsy. You kind of have to get two controller boards and solder some wires together. I really didn't want to go through that headache, so after the hardware cost, you're paying somebody around $20 to $30 to get that done for you, which I feel is more than fair. There may be other platforms selling them like eBay, but you'll have to do some research online to find your adapter. You'll want a GIMX 8.0 adapter. Since using the method mentioned, the pedals have been a dream to use on GT7, which is my main console sim. So with all that being said, I hope I've answered most of your questions in this video. If not, ask away in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them to the best of my abilities. Please leave a like and subscribe if this video has been helpful to you in any sort of way, and if I get enough comments requesting a tutorial on how to set these up for the console, I'll make an in-depth video showing how I was able to do so. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.